Speaker says Parliament will sit 2 p.m. tomorrow. Government prepares 2021 national budget. And more arrests soon for suspects in missing 6 million Kina funds.
This is National EMTV News with Shemaine Poriambep.
Thanks for joining us for Monday's news. The top stories later on in the bulletin. But first, the government may not have the numbers to pass the 2021 national budget, with 12 ministers and government backbenchers moving to opposition. This effectively blocking the budget from being handed down as planned for the 17th of November 2020. However, until the adjourned date for the next sitting, government still has time and is going ahead with the preparation of its 2021 budget. Annette Cora reports.
A first for PNG, the unfolding events of Parliament's last sitting has thrown the government's well-advanced budget preparations into disarray, effectively delaying the payments for essential government services. This according to Treasurer Ian Lingstaki, who advised on the handing down of the budget schedule. His outlining of the budget schedule is that the government's budget strategy paper was endorsed by the National Executive Council last month and posted on the Treasury website. The budget framework was endorsed 2 weeks ago. The resulting appropriation bill was endorsed last Wednesday, and the printing for the budget papers was scheduled for Friday. Speaking assertively on the government's budget, the Prime Minister states that preparation is on par and will be ready for tabling in the coming sitting.
Country, the government is secure, government is intact, government is functional. What is in 2020 budget will be spent according to the procurement laws we have in place, and according to the Public Finance Management Act, and according to budget. We are not reckless, we're not stupid.
While it is clear now that the 2021 budget, due to be tabled tomorrow, 17 November 2020, has been moved to the middle of December, the opposition is also gearing up with what Nama says is the new coalition government underway in Vanimo Sundown Province. In a statement released last night, the leader for opposition states that Prime Minister Marape has lost the support of Parliament, calling on him to act in the best interest of the country, resign his commission so that Parliament can be recalled back immediately. Annette Cora, National EMTV News.
Barrick New Guinea Limited has written to a prominent Papua New Guinean medical doctor, threatened to have him charged under the cybercrime laws. Dr. Sam Yokopua received a letter from the company's lawyers written on the 14th of November. Barrick demanded that Dr. Yokopua remove all posts deemed defamatory and that he post a public apology on his wall. Dr. Yokopua has since referred the matter to his lawyers. He has also expressed that he has no intention of apologizing anytime soon. Landowners in the Southern Highlands Oil and Gas Project have established a Supreme Landowner Association. Executives of the Namo Aporo Uri resource owners signed documents recently in Port Mosby, signifying a new era for landowner interest. Executive Officer Alex Narobe says the association's aim is to protect the interest of resource owners in the project area.
Talks of establishing this landowner group emerged as oil and gas projects extend in the area. The new executives signed the appointments to serve and protect the landowners' interests and benefits. The Aporo Uri resource owners will be the supreme entity.
This association, we got 117 members now. Time project exists now. Project still stop. Now currently I'm still exist. Now LNG come now. I'm superseding. Now time me blog went so long gas. This association still stop. So now me blog like Senabim long here also the whole PDL2 Masawe 4 and Southeast Mananda Moran PDL2 all other landowners who said he's sharing border want me blog like declaring.
The establishment of the Aporo Uri resource owners will cater and oblige to the 117 ILGs within the project area in Southern Highlands. With the focus to protect the interest of resource owners, Chairman John Capinato says the entity will operate within laws.
You got way below you me talk, you got way below you me sit down association, and we got executive, now we got management committees, now you got shareholders belong him. So you must provide him, you must make him good like governance long, all got something. If you don't have gone start him association, nothing. You must be in process.
Acknowledging participation, now put him over something in order so that wild dog must not come each other. One is something, you look at them, must look at them the side now. Look common interest belong, 117 ILGs. Maybe capture him so.
The entity will oversight the PDL2 area with boundaries with 4A and Moran landowners. Chairman Paul Yahweh says landowner interest has always remained a struggle between the developer and levels of government. He says for the good of the ILGs, all must work together for communities to benefit.
Protecting interest block project, security is a very important. When you talk about with other tribesmen and for you want to first one, not make one something. It's already covered. Listen, me give him Timano one or something. Tintin blow me, put him blow paper that's also talking on Mosby. Understanding must stop yet. I shall protect it. Not me, after me. Our rubber stop. We'd like to stop. Nuclear man come up to. This is a paper most important for the guide, safeguarding the interest of 117, including my claim as well.
Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
Following the Speaker's announcement to recall Parliament tomorrow, Prime Minister James Marape has directed lawyers to challenge opposition leader Belden Nama's motions first thing tomorrow. Those stories after the break. Welcome back to the news. The National Procurement Commission, or NPC, has successfully established the University of Goroka Special Procurement Committee to oversee and undertake procurement activities at the university. The Special Procurement Committee, chaired by UOG Vice-Chancellor Professor Musawe Sinabare, comprised of 12 members and is indeed the largest committee sworn in by NPC. The committee has a threshold of 1 million kina. NPC Chief Executive Officer Mr. Simon Bole commended UOG for establishing its Special Procurement Committee and encouraged the members to exercise responsibility, integrity and transparency. Police will continue to investigate the missing 6 million kina funding for the Manam resettlement exercise. That's from Peter Guinness, the Assistant Commissioner for Police in the Northern Region. 2 persons have been arrested and charged, and more arrests will follow. The 6 million kina was released in 2018 for the resettlement of Manam Islanders residing at the care centers on mainland Medang years after the eruption of the Manam volcano.
ACP for Northern Command Peter Guinness said suspects in the misappropriation of 6 million kina Manam funds will face the law, adding those who are implicated must go before the court to explain themselves, and police are only following the process of bringing them to court.
We will continue to do that until every one of those people who were implicated will be brought to court and allow the process of the law to take its course. The law belongs to everybody. You liglig man or you bikla man, law emistab na me karma pe mipla olkata. So usati wokim aswa inside long disla Evi has been accused of misappropriating that 6 million kina, must go before the court and explain himself or herself in court. Only the court will determine whether the person is guilty or not guilty.
Medang police have refused bail for the 2 senior public servants locked up for the alleged misappropriation of the 6 million kina. This is because of the amount of money involved.
In situations where a suspect is arrested and charged for willful murder, rape, robbery, sedition, arson, or any other cases like that, we normally refuse bail for them at the police station, and they appear in court, and only then they can make application before the National Court to grant them bail. In this particular case, it involves a lot of money. 6 million kina is a lot of money, and police in Medang has rightly so refused bail because of the amount of money involved, and they allowed those 2 suspects or 2 accused to appear before the National Court, and the National Court granted them bail.
On Monday, police arrested acting Provincial Administrator Joseph Kunda Bonomane and the former Provincial Finance Manager Paul Amera. They were arrested and charged for the misappropriation of 6 million kina allocated for the Manam resettlement program. They were locked up at the Jomba police station cell until the National Court in Medang granted them bail last Wednesday. They went out on a 2,000 kina court bail, but with 9 bail conditions. They are both ordered to report to the OIC CID every Monday. They must not leave the province without the permission of the senior provincial magistrate or the judge, and must not interfere with any state witnesses. Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Medang.
Goroka District has certified the second out of the targeted 200 communities through the Kilpena Community Project today. The Open Defecation Free or ODF certificate presented to Genevega community today is aimed at changing human behavior to improve lifestyle. Since initial awareness in Genevega, locals have built 51 proper pit toilets with hand washing stations for each household. Out of the 51 pit toilets, 1 was built by an 8-year-old boy. Peter Sani, a 70-year-old man from Ungaibena district who lives in Genevega, says for many years such basic government services have not reached their community despite being hours away from Goroka town. implemented through a partnership agreement between Oxfam, UNICEF and Goroka District Development Authority. Communities are encouraged to build proper pit toilets and hand washing stations to practice safe hygiene. Parliament has been recalled to sit at 2 p.m. tomorrow by the Speaker, Job Pomat. This is after the Speaker discovered errors in the manner in which Parliament was adjourned to December 1st. Speaker says while most parliamentary standing orders were followed, Section 11A(1) of the Organic Law on the calling of meetings of Parliament was breached.
Following Friday's turn of events, Parliament Speaker Job Pomat called a conference today after reviewing proceedings of that day. Deputy Speaker Connie Iguan presided over Parliament last Friday when Parliament was adjourned to December 1st. He said while all standing orders were followed, Opposition Leader Belden Nama breached Section 21A of the Organic Law. He says this session, which started last Tuesday, the 10th of November, is still in progress and there is no adjournment. He said only a Parliament standing order can be suspended and not an organic law to uphold the integrity of Parliament. Speaker is now recalling Parliament tomorrow for 2 p.m. and has called on members of Parliament to attendance. He said parliamentary staff and the Deputy Speaker were also caught by surprise by the events of last Friday and did not realize this mistake. Meantime, all other standing orders were followed, and this includes the discharge of duties of all permanent parliamentary committees. The appointment of a new permanent parliamentary committee of private business is also in order, Pomat said. Members of the opposition, including those who joined from the government, are all in Vanimo, while the government camp led by Marape left for Loloata Island Resort today. Ruth Rungula, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, following the Speaker's announcement, the Prime Minister has directed his lawyers to challenge Belden Nama's motions first thing tomorrow. And a chartered flight is expected to travel into Vanimo tomorrow, with more MPs expected to join the Vanimo camp. The first chartered flight left Port Mosby on Saturday with 43 MPs, as confirmed by the flight manifest. Other MPs joined them via commercial flights. And for the first time, Donald Trump has acknowledged via Twitter that Joe Biden won the U.S. elections. But he's not conceding, and he's still repeating his claims the U.S. election was rigged. It comes as an expert from his coronavirus task force says it's time for them to start working with the president-elect.
Tonight, as the new administration prepares to take over the White House, the nation's leading infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, saying it's time to work with Joe Biden.
It's almost like passing a baton in a race. You don't want to stop and then give it to somebody. You want to just essentially keep going. That's what transition is. So it certainly would make things more smoothly if we could do that.
With coronavirus cases on the rise, the president-elect has been denied classified briefings and blocked from coordinating with federal agencies, including teams inside Health and Human Services planning the distribution of a vaccine.
Our experts need to talk to those people as soon as possible so nothing drops in this change of power we're going to have on January 20th.
Members of the coronavirus task force today confirming President Trump hasn't attended a meeting in 5 months. He's refused to acknowledge the surge in cases, focusing instead on contesting the election results. Today tweeting he won, seeming to recognize Biden's victory, but quickly adding, "I concede nothing," while continuing to spread unfounded claims of a stolen election. Thousands gathering in support of the president in D.C. this weekend, swarming the motorcade on his way to the golf course.
Look, this isn't over. It's not even close to being over.
Overnight, the largely peaceful demonstrations turning violent, police making more than 20 arrests after pro-Trump supporters and counter-protesters clashed in the streets.
Boris Johnson is self-isolating after spending half an hour with an MP who later tested positive for COVID-19. The British Prime Minister, who battled the virus in April, doesn't have any symptoms.
Johnson on Thursday with the Conservative MP Lee Anderson. They were part of a small group who held talks in Downing Street for just over half an hour. Since then, Mr Anderson has tested positive for coronavirus, and earlier today the Prime Minister was told to self-isolate by NHS Test and Trace. The Prime Minister wrote to Tory MPs tonight. The good news is that NHS Test and Trace continues to improve. The bad news is that I've been pinged. It doesn't matter that we were all following the guidance and socially distancing. It doesn't matter that I feel fine, better than ever, or that my body is bursting with antibodies. The rules are the rules, and they are there to stop the spread of the disease. Mr Johnson will now work from here while he self-isolates. He plans to continue to communicate with the public, and his team are exploring ways he could take part in parliamentary proceedings remotely. But he won't be able to leave his flat in Downing Street for another 10 days. The Prime Minister has, of course, had the virus already.
Good afternoon.
This was back in April when he was released from intensive care, but a previous positive result isn't an exemption under the test and trace rules. I understand others who were at the meeting have been told to self-isolate too. Number 10 is said to be a COVID-secure workplace, but insiders say it's not possible to remove all risk.
Trukai Sports is next. Join Fideli Sukina after these short messages. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
And welcome to Trukai Sports. The annual Takuru Force Lawn Bowls tournament was held over the weekend at the Defence Bowls Clubs in Port Mosby. After 2 days of competition, it was the Goroka Bowls Club that came out victorious against Bisini Bowls Club here in Port Mosby. The tournament, named after Chief Warrant Officer Ezekiel Takuru, was well attended over the weekend, with teams from Goroka and Port Mosby participating, with a lone player from Ley joining in on the action. The competition started off on Saturday with 3 teams from the Goroka Bowls Club and 8 teams each from the Bisini and Defence Bowls Clubs, bringing the number of teams to 20 in total for the 2-day tournament. On the final day of the tournament on Sunday, it was Goroka and Bisini Bowls that were left to determine the winner of this year's Takuru Force tournament. Goroka winning the tournament, defeating last year's winners, the Bisini Bowls Club. Captain of the Goroka Bowls team happy with the win, saying it was determination to go back to Goroka as winners.
Team Lomi want them, people set, people ready. Mibla dog, mibla go down. There's la competition. Or put him Takuru Force. Mibla go kisim is la cup ne kam. Mibla he come na mibla make him through the finals. Na mibla win him is la cup. Takuru Force. Miamas. Long or team Lomi.
The tournament has been in existence for almost 52 years now, and Goroka have been one of the most consistent teams in the tournament. They have also won consecutively in 2015 and 2016.
2 consecutive years we play him along 2015 and 16. Now 17, 18, 19 we start here along Mosby. Now 20 we must go down. We play challenges as a competition. Kisim is la cup go back Goroka. Mi kisim is la cup go back Goroka. Me proud of him. Is la cup and now start mi Goroka now.
President of Goroka Bowls, Wilson Unua, was proud of his team's win and also of the tournament, which brought in some valued competition for his team that travelled down from Goroka.
Commiserations to all the 19 teams. There's a one block winner, that's all. Thank you, my team from Goroka. We never fail any clubs in attending any national or sanctioned events. So we will come back and regain him. Thank you, team Lomilo Goroka. Well done. We'll take it home and celebrate up in that cold place, Goroka.
The tournament host Defence Bowls Club is looking to host this tournament again next year, with the commanding officer of Murray Barracks giving assurance that the tournament will be hosted in the coming year.
As a commanding officer of Murray Barracks, I'm pleased that this event is happening in Murray Barracks. We've got a good event that highlights our bowling event we have at Murray Barracks. So we keep it going, we make it bigger and better next year. Thank you, hosting again.
Presentations went well into the night with players recognized for their efforts during the tournament. The Port Mosby Rugby Football League is hoping to finish their season before the festive season. The competition in its 71st season this year had to cope with COVID-19 lockdowns that made it almost impossible to start, but they hope they can end this year's competition before the 21st of December.
2 weeks ago, this is the second week for round 2, and basically round 2 is going to consist of 4 games. 4 games just to confirm top 8, and when we go into top 8 we will require clubs to take part in midweek games so that we shorten the time frame going into the finals. We are looking at 11th and 12th December, if not 18th and 19th December. If that doesn't work out, then definitely we'll put the grand final off to next year, January. In Pool 1, Brothers and Connie Storms. In Pool 2, Connie Tigers and Taranga. That's how it is so far. Women's competition, Pakapent is way ahead. They have not lost a game. Our women's competition also saw a reduction of 4 teams to 10. We have only 10 teams take part in the second round.
And more stories after the break. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports.